What are modal verbs? How many modal verbs are there? What are the rules for modal verbs? And how do we use modal verbs? If you don't know the answers of these questions, then you have to listen this episode carefully. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Journey Towards English. In this episode, I'll teach you modal verbs. First, let's have a look at modal verbs. Modal verbs are like auxiliary verbs like be, do and have because they work together with the main verbs. For example, you should not talk to her in this way, or I would like to have a cup of tea. They are used to talk about a purpose or to express something like possibility, probability, ability, permission, request or to ask help. There are more than 12 modal verbs, but we will be talking about 13 modal verbs. And they are must, might, may, will, would, can, could, should, shall, ought, used, need, and dare. In our daily lives, we have a set of instructions and rules for almost everything. There is a set of rules for computers, for school, periods, similarly in colleges and university, and also at work. Just like them, we have some rules for modal verbs, and number one is infinitives come after modal verbs but without to. For example, I might write it or they can play tennis. In this sentence, infinitive is write and in the next sentence, infinitive is play. The modal verbs are might and can and they are coming before infinitives. The second rule is modal verbs take no s in the third person singular. Third person singular includes she, he and they. For example, she must tell her. In this sentence, I'm not using s or es with third person singular of modal verbs because it's a rule. Or you can also say it might happen. The third we have is modal verbs do not change their form according to the tense. Well, we have always heard that every verb is changed according to the tense. However, while using modal verbs, we don't change their form according to the tense. So this was the third rule. Let's move towards the fourth rule, which is we use modal verbs in negative sentences like we do other auxiliary verbs without the word do. Then the formation will be like this: subject plus modal verb plus not plus verb. I have just replaced do with the modal verb, so that's why I will not use do at all again. For example, she must not tear her notebook, or I cannot write well. And the last rule we have of modal verbs is with interrogative phrases, modal verbs are used like other auxiliary verbs, and then the formation will be modal verb plus subject plus object. For example, can I help you? Now let's talk about the uses of modal verbs. The first we have is might. Might is used to show a possibility. For example, he might have prepared the lesson. We have not 100% surety right here, like conditionals. But conditional and modal verbs both are different from each other. So might is used to show a possibility, not 100% surety. We are not sure about something. We are just talking about a possibility that can happen. The next we have is may. May is also used to show a possibility or to ask permission. For example, may I drink water? Like we usually ask teacher while we are thirsty and we want to quench our thirst. This was the most common one. The next example is I may be late today. In the first sentence, I used may to show the permission or to ask permission, and in the second sentence, I used may to show a possibility. The next we have is must. Must is used to show a probability or logical assumption, necessity. For example, I must leave now, or they must be together now, or it is also used to talk about a prohibition. For example, you must not drive if you have drunk. Will can be used to indicate future time. For example, I will talk to her at 7 o'clock. And will can also be used to show a promise or willingness or a polite question. For example, I will complete my work and then I will send it to you near 2 o'clock. The next we have is would. Would is used to ask a polite question or to give invitations or to tell desires. For example, would you explain it to me please? Or I would like to have a glass of mango juice. So let's talk about can. Can is used to show ability or give suggestion or an option or tell a impossibility or to ask a request. For example, I can learn it, you can explain it easily, right? That can't be her, I can help her, or can I help her? The next we have is could. Could is used to show a possibility, polite question, or to show a possibility or impossibility, or to give a suggestion. For example, I could write like that 2 years ago, or could I do it, or she could have done it, or she could not have done it, or you could explain it. The next is should. Should is used to give a recommendation or uncertain prediction or to talk about the thing which is right. For example, you should go on a tour. We should do it right now. We should be at school at time, but he's not sure. The next we have is shall. It is used to offer something or to ask confirmation or to show a promise. Shall I explain it? I shall call you at 12. You should be the first person to know about it. I hope that you have get this point, so I'm moving toward the word ought. It is used to talk about something which is your ideal or your desire. We can also use it for past. For example, we ought to have more libraries in Lahore. The 12th modal verb which we are going to talk about is dare. It is used to talk about something which exists or is in a plane or to talk about statements. For example, we wanted to laugh but we didn't dare. The last modal verb which I'm going to teach you is need. It is usually used to form negative sentences. For example, I need to talk to her. It can also be used as positive. For example, I need to complete my work. So that's it for today, guys. If you like this episode and if this episode have cleared your doubts, then you are supposed to support me with some thumbs up. And I would like to say that if you want to understand something, then you can ask me in the comment box. Thank you so much for paying attention to me. And in conclusion, I want to give you a tip. Learning vocabulary and grammar will not be beneficial until you make notes of it. Because if you will not write notes, then you will not be able to memorize it. So thank you so much for such attention. Take care. Bye.